Hey guys, it's LNS, and this is my first video about my poetry book that I had just recently published back in early January. Today, I will have a random number generator select 5 poems from my book. And with these 5 poems, I will be kind of explaining and deep diving into them, just so you guys can understand how I write and how I see things and how I create and develop my poetry. Before we get into that, I just want to say if you like my poetry and you like what you see, feel free to click the link in the description to buy my book and read the rest. Alright, let's get into the video now. So my book does have 45 poems, so it will be 1 to 45. So we click and we get poem number 24. This is a fantastical fallacy. The world is dull, its people are matte. Reality is black and white. I glitch through the walls of reality. I'm greeted by a pretty fallacy, where everything is three-dimensional and shines brighter than the sun itself. I am home. Before I explain this poem or any of my other poems, I just want to let you guys know that your interpretation is just as valid as my explanation. You may take this poem and my poetry in general any which direction you want. That's the point of poetry. My personal explanation on this is me simply being fed up with how boring and dull and kind of saddening the world is. So I kind of just go off in my own little world, in my own little reality, in my room, in my house. And I'm free to do whatever I want. And I can be happy there, you know? To be insanely blunt, I don't like the people at my school and they're all boring. And I can't ever have fun with many people because of it. So I had to quickly learn that having fun with yourself and enjoying your own company is very important. So that is the main takeaway. So off to the next poem. So we just did poem number 24 and generate, and we get poem number 16. Alright, so this is There's a Fire. There's a fire within me. It rages, it burns through my words, sparks through my movements. It will control me until I am nothing but ashes and embers. So this poem actually has a double meaning. In a way, this metaphorical fire could either stand for passion or rage/anger. But rage and anger is a type of passion. So you could kind of view this as positive or negative passions. In a negative perspective, this could be your rage just burning through you, like your anger issues coming through, and you can't control yourself, and you say things you don't want to say, do things you don't want to do, and it's ruining your reputation, your career, and your social life. I used to be a very angry person who not have any self-control with what I'd say or do to people. So that kind of inspired the negative meaning of this poem, but there's a positive side as well. If you have a passion such as a hobby like reading, writing, singing, dancing, or maybe it's your work, that could be the fire as well. When you try so hard to be so great and possibly even the best at something, it starts to control you and take over, and then you can experience burnout and you can get pretty tired of this passion. So, well, I'm just now realizing that last bit is not the most positive thing ever, but having that passion part and having that drive and motivation is pretty positive to me. Alright, so that's the explanation to There's a Fire. On to the next poem. Alright, so we just did 16, generate, and now we get 41. Alright, so this poem is a little bit more literal than most of the poetry I write. My peace is in their chaos. I've been told to keep dirty secrets. It scrapes at my skin, knowing information that could ruin people. However, finding peace was what needed to happen, even if it caused chaos for everyone else. This was specifically about a scenario that happened while I was writing my book. But you know what's funny? This scenario just came back to haunt me again, literally last night, with the same girl. I'm going to try my very best not to get super heated while explaining because I want to stay somewhat professional. But this girl is very messy with what she does. She says things she's not supposed to say. She does things she's not supposed to do. And a lot of people told me just to leave it alone and to not tell on her and to just mind my business. So I attempted to call her out on it. And everyone told me to just leave it alone, drop it. So I was like, whatever, fine. And now look what happens. Now she's currently cheating on her boyfriend with some random dude that nobody likes. Sorry, y'all. I had to get out of character right there. My bad. My apologies. But what I'm really trying to say is no matter how much chaos, drama, calamity it causes for other people, at the end of the day, I will be sleeping peacefully in my bed. That's all that matters to me. Okay, so after spilling some tea, I think it's time to go to the next poem. Alright, poem 41 completed. Now we have 35. This one is called Back on Earth. My skin feels foreign. My vision is trustworthy. My hearing is reliable. I am back. Back where I'm supposedly supposed to be, back on planet Earth. So this poem doesn't have like a specific meaning. It kind of has a more general meaning of what it could be. This is kind of like coming back from like having a dream or a daydream or a delusion, something that was a fantasy to you, something that was not completely real, and you wake up and you're kind of like, dang, I'm back on planet Earth. Like, what the heck? It's crazy. For me, half the time, I'm in La La Land. I'm in my own head doing whatever. I'm not paying attention to half the world around me. So this is kind of a reflection of that. I did not have too much to say about this poem, so let's just move on to the next. And the last. 35 completed. Now the last one will be number 11. This one is called Paradise Within a Frame. A pretty picture sitting in a golden frame sits up on the wall. Paradise within a frame. The sun shines perfectly. Everyone's lips curved into an honest smile. I look up at that picture, wondering when, no if, it'll ever be like that again. So this poem essentially means you had a group, or maybe just one person, whether it was family, friends, a friend, a family member, whoever. And at some point in time, everything was going perfectly with them. Perhaps maybe it was even the peak of your relationship. But as time moves on, you don't have that forever. You eventually fall out with this person or this group of people. But after some time, you get reminded of them through a picture, an object, a gift that they gave you, etc. And you start to reminisce about the relationship you had, and then potentially go through some grief again about that loss of that relationship. Even if the relationship ended up being toxic for some reason, you may still find yourself craving that again, craving all the good times. So yes, this poem is about being reminded of a past friendship, relationship, whatever, and wondering like if you're ever really gonna get that back. Again, this is a little bit more literal than a lot of my other poetry. We've made it to the end of the video. So those were just a couple of the poems from my poetry book, Escape from Reality. This is actually the cover of the book right here on your screen. If you enjoyed my poetry on any type of level or degree, I'd highly appreciate it if you bought my book, and the link will be in the description. But before I end the video, I'd just like to say, poetry is the gateway to our souls.